In this video, we will see one example for K-means clustering algorithm. So in case of K-means clustering algorithm, some data points will be given to us. We have to divide the data points or group the data points into certain number of clusters. So the input to the algorithm is data points as well as the number of clusters k. So here it is given that you are going to cluster the following 8 points into 3 clusters. And the 8 points are given. And if you consider all these points are 2D points. So sometimes you may get n-dimensional points also. So in this example, it is given that you are going to use Manhattan's distance measure. So now what is our first step? First, we have to form initial clusters by selecting the centroids randomly. So totally I gave you 8 points. Out of the 8 points, you can select any 3 points as a cluster centers. Why I need to select the 3 points? Because I need to form 3 clusters. So now I am assuming that my 3 cluster centroids are A1, A4 and then A7. You can even assume that the centroids are A1, A2, A3 or otherwise A6, A7, A8. It is up to you. Now I am assuming that the 3 centroids are A1, A4 and then A7. So here I am going to find the distance between various points by applying the Manhattan distance formula. So you know the formula now. If I give you 2 points to find the distance, you are going to use modulus of P1 minus Q1 plus modulus of P2 minus Q2 because it is 2-dimensional plane. Now let us see how to proceed with the algorithm. So first I am writing all the given data points A1 up to A8. So here this is nothing but the X and Y coordinates of the points. Now what is the first step? You calculate the distance of each point from the centroid. So now for that only in the previous slide, we have chosen 3 centroids. The first centroid is 210, second is 5, 8, third one is 1 and 2. So based upon these 3 centroids, we are going to calculate the distance of every point from them. So I'm writing distance from the center 2, 10. Okay, because I'm assuming that 210 is part of the cluster 1. And then second is distance from the center 5, 8, which is the centroid of the cluster 2. Then I'm calculating the distance from the center 1, 2, which is nothing but centroid of cluster 3. So now how to calculate the distance? Here, consider this particular thing. What is the meaning of this particular cell is? It is the distance of the point A1 from the centroid 2, 10. So how to calculate the distance? It's nothing but you subtract the first value of each term. That is nothing but 2 minus 2. Take the absolute value. Then plus 10 minus 10. Take the absolute value. I'm applying this formula. Okay. So absolute of 2 minus 2 is 0. Plus absolute of 10 minus 10 is also 0. So 0 plus 0 is 0. Now let us consider the second point. Here I'm calculating the distance of the point A2 from the centroid 2, 10. So for that I have to subtract 2 from 2. That is the first component in this and take the absolute value. So 2 minus 2 and take the absolute value. So it is 0. Then subtract 5 and 10 and take the absolute value. So 5 minus 10 is minus 5. Take the absolute value, that is 5. So 0 plus 5 is 5. Now we can compute the distance of all the remaining points from each of the 3 centroids. Once we do that, we can write this particular column. So to write this, we have to consider a given point belongs to which particular cluster. For example, let me consider the first point A1. So we have to check whether this point can be written in cluster 1 or cluster 2 or cluster 3. For that, we have to consider the minimum distance. With respect to cluster 1, A1 is at a distance of 0. And with respect to cluster 2, it is at a distance of 5. And with respect to cluster 3 centroid, it is at a distance of 9. So out of these 3 numbers, the minimum value is 0. Therefore, A1 should be associated with cluster 1. So I'm writing here C1. And if we consider the point A2, out of these 3 distances, 4 is the minimum value. Therefore, A2 should be associated with cluster 3. Similarly, A3 should be associated with cluster 2 because here 7 is the minimum out of these 3 values. Likewise, you find the cluster of all the remaining points. And once we do that, we can group them. Now we can say that the point A1 is part of the cluster 1 and the points A3, A4, A5, A6 and A8, they are part of the cluster 2 and A2 and A7 are part of the cluster 3. So now we can group these points and form the new cluster. Initially, we assumed only the centroid randomly. Now we are assigning the points to the particular cluster. This is iteration 1. Now we can say that in iteration 1, the new clusters formed are cluster 1, which is containing 1 point A1, and cluster 2 containing totally 5 points A3, A4, A5, A6, and A8, and cluster 3 containing 2 points A2 and then A7. So now, once these points are assigned to the cluster, the centroid of these clusters will be changing. So what we have to do is we have to recompute the centroid of the clusters again. So you update the centroid again. So how to calculate the centroid? You consider the cluster 1. In cluster 1, we have only 1 point A1. Okay, therefore, there is no change in the centroid. Since we have only 1 point, whatever is the previous thing, the same thing only we will have. So the centroid of this cluster remains the same. That is nothing but 2, 10. If you consider the second cluster, it is having totally 5 points now. You calculate the centroid of this cluster, that is nothing but mean of all the distances. So for that, you add all the first dimensions together, divide that by total number of points in your cluster, that is nothing but 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 6 plus 4 divided by 5. Similarly, you add all the second dimension together, divide by total number of points. So 4 plus 8 plus 5 plus 4 plus 9 divided by 5. And when you do that, you will be getting the centroid for the second cluster, that is nothing but 6, 6. Then for the third cluster, compute the new centroid, that is nothing but 2 plus 1 by 2, then 5 plus 2 by 2. So the centroid here is 1.5, 3.5. So now at the end of the iteration 1, you have updated the centroid for all the 3 newly formed clusters. Now go to second iteration. So in case of second iteration, you have to compute the distance of each point from the newly calculated centroid. You can see here. Now I am going to compute the distance of all these points from the new centroid. The first centroid is 2, 10. Second one is 6, 6. Third one is 1.5, 3.5. From where I got these numbers? From the previous slide. You can see here, we have computed the new centroids here. With respect to that, you have to compute the distance again. So how to compute? Same steps. Calculate. Let us go to this particular entry. Here I am computing the distance of the first point A1 from this centroid 1.5, 3.5. So it's nothing but 2 minus 1.5 absolute value, which is 0.5, plus 10 minus 3.5 absolute. That is nothing but 6.5. Okay, so I'm getting the value as 7 when I'm adding them together. Then you do this procedure for all the points. Calculate the distance of all the points from the newly calculated 3 centroids. After that, you have to see which the point is closer to which particular centroid. If you consider the point A1, A1 is closer to this particular cluster centroid. So I will say that A1 will be associated with cluster 1 because this value is minimum. So I am writing C1. Okay, so look at this column. Point belong to the cluster. Here only I am updating the new cluster. And A2 is now closer to C3. Okay, so it is C3. For A3, it is closer to 2. Likewise, you update for everything. Now look at the last one. It is very important. The point number A8 is closer to now the first cluster, C1. Okay, so if you update, you are getting C1. But previously, the point A8 is part of cluster 2. Now, what has happened? Once you update the centroid, the point is now in cluster 1. So what will happen when you run this particular algorithm is, initially, points may be belonging to some cluster, but when you proceed with your iteration, the points will be moving from one cluster to another cluster. Because the algorithm is choosing the centroid randomly at initial stage, then as soon as the algorithm runs, it will be learning the new centroids based upon the distance so that inter-cluster distance is minimized. So now what is the change here? Out of the 8 points, there is no change in the first 7 points. Only the last point is changed. Initially, old cluster is C2, but now it is part of the cluster C1. So the point is moving from cluster C2 to cluster C1. So this is end of the iteration. So now you can write the new clusters. So in cluster 1, we have now, you can see in the previous step in cluster 1, only 1 point is present. That is the old cluster. But in the new cluster, we have 2 points. One is A1, another is A8. Okay. So you list the new clusters now. After that, again, you have to compute the centroid of the clusters. Then you have to proceed. Okay. But now there is no need to compute this. This I have given only for your reference. Okay, how to proceed to the next iteration I have given. But now what is the given question to you? You proceed the algorithm till the iteration number 2. So you can stop at this point. Okay, because you have finished the iteration number 2, you stop here and you can now tell that there are 3 clusters, and in cluster 1 we have points A1 and A8, in cluster 2 A3, A4, A5 and A6, in cluster 3 A2 and A7. Suppose if I don't give you stop with 2 iterations, you cannot stop this point. You have to proceed further. Why I have to proceed further? Because if you see this particular slide, there is a change in the clusters. Okay, initially point A8 is in cluster 2, but now it is moving to cluster 1. That means there is a change. Whenever there is a change, you have to proceed. Unless the stopping criteria is given, you have to proceed. So now let me assume that the iteration 2 is not given to you. Stop at iteration 2 is not given to you. Okay, so how to proceed with that? You have assigned the clusters with the new data points. After that, you again compute the centroid for every cluster. So for the first cluster, I'm computing with these 2 points. For the second cluster, compute with the 4 points. For the third cluster, compute with the 2 points. Then again, you take all the 8 points, find the distance of those points from the newly formulated centroids. You can see here, I have updated the centroid. Form the distance. Now see the points are closer to which particular cluster. If you consider this, with respect to the previous slide, I have given the old cluster arrangement in the last column. And for the new arrangement, this is a clustering. If you consider this, the point number A4 is now closer to cluster 1 because that is with minimum distance 3.5. So I will say that point belongs to cluster C1. But in the previous slide, it is in cluster 2. Now again, there is a change. Okay. Other points are not having any change. They belong to the same cluster as that of the previous iteration. So now you should not stop because there is a change. You have to again proceed to the 4th iteration. So generally, you have to proceed as long as you are getting the changes. When you don't get any change, sometimes if this C2 is also in if this C1 is also in C2, then you will stop your algorithm. Okay. So this is how you can proceed with the k-means clustering algorithm. So now what we can say here, finding the number of iterations when we have to stop the particular algorithm is a very important point. For that only, we are giving you the stopping criteria.